What's up, my fellow alcoholics, and welcome to the channel. And in today's video we'll be going over the first SMG, which is the AUG SMG, and we'll also be going over a couple loadouts, one being a ground war loadout, another one being 10v10 ground war loadout, and another being the 6v6 loadout. And also the ground war loadout happens to be the conversion to make it the AUG Steyr. So going into that conversion kit and ground war loadout, you're going to start with the 622mm long barrel for the damage over range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Now your ADS time does get hurt with this, and so does your movement speed because it's a heavier barrel, but it's still not too bad. And then you want to throw on the integral 3.0 optic, and that pretty much converts the whole thing over to the old school AUG Steyr. You want to run the stipple grip tape for the ADS time and the sprint to fire speed. And then to complete the conversion kit, you want to run the 5.56 NATO round, the 30 round mags. You can run the 60 round drum, but it also hurts your ADS time and your movement speed, and it just makes you really slow, pretty much like a turtle, which is really not that necessary, so I didn't run that one. And then for the underbarrel, you're going to run the Merc foregrip for the recoil control and the hip fire accuracy. Now with the barrel and the Merc foregrip, it helps out a lot in your vertical recoil. You're still going to have plenty of vertical recoil, but the pattern is going to be a little bit tighter than normal, and you barely have any type of horizontal. So but definitely a fun loadout. It's a full conversion kit from SMG to AR, and I find it pretty useful in ground war. You don't have to run the optic sight, you can run other sights for it, but this is just the whole conversion kit, and I really enjoyed using it for ground war. But as you can see, the recoil pattern is straight up vertically, but a nice tight pattern. And then this particular loadout is my little hybrid loadout, and it's for ground war, and then it's for 10v10 maps. So what you want to do is you want to run the 407mm extended barrel for the recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage over range. For the optics, I ran holographic sights. You can run red dots, you can run 3 times. It's personal preference at that point. And then I went for the perk. I went for the sleight of hand for the faster reload time. For the rear grip, I went for the stipple grip tape for your ADS time and your sprint to fire speed. And I pretty much stuck with the Merc foregrip for the recoil control and hip fire accuracy. Now you can swap the perk sleight of hand for like the NATO rounds, which will give you more damage over range. So you'll be packing more of a punch at long range, but your fire rate does get slowed down. Don't forget that. But definitely a good option you can throw in there too. So a lot of fun to use. Very useful on the 10v10, like larger maps, and you can still kind of move around like an SMG, tight like 6v6 map with it, which is really nice. Your mobility isn't too bad because of that long barrel. So and the plus thing about that long barrel is that you can reach out and touch somebody at longer ranges. So definitely nice to have. Fun little loadout. It's very useful in all areas. As you can see, the recoil pattern is still vertical, just a hint to the right, but it's still very, very manageable, just as long as you pull down on the stick or your mouse if you're using mouse keyboard. And then finally, the 6v6 loadout. I just ran a red dot sight, although you can run iron sights if you're really good with them. I ran the comb for the stock for the ADS time. I still ran sleight of hand for the perk to reload fast and reload quickly in a pinch. And then the stipple grip tape for the ADS time and the sprint to fire speed. And I stuck with the Merc foregrip. Now you can switch out the sleight of hand for the 5mW laser, or you can switch out the optic sight for the 5mW laser, which helps out a lot for your sprint out time and your hip fire accuracy, especially when that's paired with the Merc foregrip. You have plenty of options there. Like I said, if you're going to run the iron sights and you're really good with the iron sights, that option is great to use, especially like if you're running the shoot house map, shipment, any smaller type of 6v6 map. So it's definitely useful. I personally don't like the iron sights. I'm not very good with them. I always found myself trying to aim with the wrong point of view or the wrong aiming device on the on the iron sight there. So that's just a personal problem, in my opinion. That's why I run the red dots and everything like that. So going to the wall test, it's pretty much the same as my hybrid loadout. Same recoil pattern, everything like that. It's just made for a lot closer quarters combat than the hybrid loadout. And then finally, what I did a little different with this video is I'm running the stock or standard gun with no attachments towards the end, just so you guys can see a little comparison. I know it's a little tough to see it right there with that foliage on the pipe there, but that Merc foregrip definitely helps with the recoil control. As you can see, it almost went up as high as my ground war loadout. So that Merc foregrip does come in handy, man. The only reason why I use that Merc foregrip a lot is simply because you get two benefits out of it. You get the recoil control and you get the hip fire accuracy. So definitely that paired with a 5 milliwatt laser gives you a very small, tight hip fire box, which is really handy sometimes. It definitely helps, especially if you're just popping a stim and you turn a corner on an enemy and you have no choice but to hip fire. You're increasing your chances on hitting that target while you're trying to stay alive. So overall, I like the AUG, but to tell you guys the truth, I like running it more as an AR, using the 5.56 rounds and maybe a long barrel on it, and getting in to AR situations, AR gunfight situations. You still have that mobility like a submachine gun, just a hint. You do slow down when you throw on the long barrels and all that kind of stuff. But I found myself leaning more towards an AR for some reason. It just didn't feel like an SMG to me. There's other SMGs in the game that do feel like SMGs and not even close to ARs. And this one, to me, I always wanted to run it as an AR. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of weird, but I found more success with it like that. If you guys find more success as a SMG, all power to you guys, man. You guys figured this thing out, but that's how I feel about it. But hopefully this video was useful for you guys and you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys haven't already, and don't forget the notification bell for future uploads and future streams. I will be covering the P90 next, to go over that, because I got a lot to go over with that one, because that was just not one of my favorite guns. But we'll get into that when that video comes out. So enjoy the rest of this video, and again, I hope it was a little useful for you guys, and I'll catch you guys next time.
You're needed at sea. Friendly counter UAV active.